Коллеги, всех приветствую.
Colleagues,
Спасибо, что пришли
I
сегодня в
welcome
такой
everyone.
день.
Thank you for coming so early today.
Сегодня результат по наполняемости аудитории гораздо лучше, чем был вчера.
I'd
Скажите,
say today
пожалуйста,
we have almost full house, which is much better than yesterday.
к собравшимся в зале.
I have a
Кто
question to
среди
you.
вас уже чем-то управляет или кем-то?
Which one of
Пожалуйста,
you
поднимите руки.
manages something or somebody? Please raise your hands. Oh, it's great.
Кто хочет в своем будущем
Which
чем-то
one of you
управлять, планирует?
would like to manage something in your life in the
Продолжить, да,
future?
тоже
Are you
хороший
planning
вопрос.
or continuing, right?
Что ничего не
That's a
случилось.
good one.
Это здорово.
So that's great.
Какой-то немалый процент тех, кому
So
будет прям
there is a
интересно
certain percentage
послушать о том, с чем
that
мы столкнулись
this
в заказчиках.
presentation will be relevant
Давайте
for.
пойдем. Меня зовут Евгений Сурков, да, я менеджер по продуктам компании
My name
Innostage.
is
Крупный интегратор,
Evgeny
и
Surkov. I'm
сталкиваемся
the product
в
manager of
внедрениях с
Innostage.
системами поддержки принятия решений, аналитики, проектами
We
разнообразными.
deal with product solutions,
Поэтому
making decisions on how to sell the products, and many more. So
выделили для себя, и, надеюсь, для вас тоже будет полезным, несколько мыслей
we
о том, как
highlighted few
хорошо
ideas for
теории
ourselves,
строить такую систему
how
поддержки принятия
great it
решений,
is
как
to
хорошо
build
принимать
in
решения, на каких
theory
данных надо
plans, how
основываться,
to make decisions,
как
what
оно
data
обычно
we should
бывает на
rely on,
практике, и что с
but
этим
how it
делать
happens in
на
practice
реальных внедрениях
and
и
what to
проектах.
do it with
Итак,
real
планы.
projects.
Первый важный аспект управления, строить
So the
планы,
first
планировать.
important aspect
На
of
основании
managing
каких
is
данных мы
plans,
строим
how to
планы,
plan.
очень важно.
Based on what data we build our plans.
Планы у нас бывают на то, как мы потратим деньги, на то, как их
We have plans
заработаем.
how to spend money, how
И
to
также
earn money,
важны планы на
and
случай, если произойдет
of
что-нибудь
course,
нехорошее с нашим
it is important to have
планами из
plans
первых двух
what to do
категорий.
if something bad happens.
То есть хорошо в идеале иметь план на каждую
Ideally,
ситуацию, которая может
it is great to
произойти,
have a plan
план
for
на
any situation that may happen.
максимально отдаленные перспективы по времени, чтобы вот максимально эффективным путем
Plans
пройти
for
туда.
the farthest
И
future,
каждый риск необходимо учитывать.
to
Это
find the
хорошо
safest way to
в
get
теории.
there, and to take
Хорошо
into
иметь
account
плейбуки
every
на каждый
risk. And
инцидент
it's
и так
great
далее.
to have
Плохо в том,
it in theory, to
что,
have all the
во-первых, это
playbooks for each
невозможно.
situation. Well, first of all, it's impossible.
Нельзя каждый риск учесть. Некоторые
It's
риски
impossible
кажутся
to take
настолько
into account
тривиальными
every
или
risk. Some risks seem to be so
несуществимыми, что на них
trivial
есть соблазн
and so
просто забить. И,
kind of impossible to happen, so that you kind of forget about them.
мы приучиваемся все время действовать по
And
плану, мы теряем гибкость.
another thing is,
Происходит событие, которое мы в самом начале
when
даже не
we strictly
подумали.
follow the plan, we
Попадаем в ступор,
lose
у нас очень сложно
flexibility. So if something
теряем
happens, something
готовность
that we
к
didn't
неожиданным
predict,
событиям.
so we
Это
kind of in
плохо.
stupor, we don't know what to do, so that's bad.
Что же можно здесь предложить и предположить?
So what
Как
can we
интегрировать в эту
suggest
историю?
here? How to mitigate the
Неплохо
situation?
бы иметь приоритизированный список задач.
It would be great to
Понимать
have
заранее,
a
что всегда этот список
prioritized
может
list of
измениться,
tasks,
и каждой
and
задаче может
given
меняться приоритет.
you have to
Поэтому
take it into
поддержка
account that
принятия
this
решений в
list may
данном случае
change.
дать какую-то
That's why
метрику относительно универсальную, по которой
to
мы
make
можем все
decisions,
наши
you have to have some sort of
задачи
matrix
ранжировать,
that will help you to
начиная от базовых. Это
prioritize
полезно на каждом
your
уровне, это полезно делать
tasks,
для своих подчиненных,
to
давать им
classify them.
инструмент.
And it's very important to
И
do
кто
at
на
every
этом
level
успешно
to
будет
give this
управляться,
tool to
соответственно, будет
your
переходить в категорию
subordinates
способных к
who can
управлению.
follow certain guidelines and
Руководителю
then
просто необходимо
make
по своим
decisions
задачам,
according to
потому что
them.
там обычно
And
руководитель
for the
занимается
manager,
тем, что у него
for
задач
CEO,
бывает,
that's important to
как
have
это ни
such a
странно,
tool.
в несколько раз больше. Я думаю, что
And
руководители ничего не
managers
делают,
usually
они
have
начинают, но, как правило,
many more tasks
в
to deal
современном
with.
IT, в современном ИБ руководитель
In modern IT
более
and
загруженный
modern
сотрудник, еще часто
information
дискриминируемый
security
руководством,
department,
потому что ему не
so
дают полномочий
these
для решения
people
всех его важных
don't have
задач,
enough
для выполнения всех его планов, у него
privileges
обычно недостаточно
to
ресурсов.
implement all the plans,
Какими
and
метриками мы можем
usually don't have
приоритизировать?
enough resources for
В идеале у
that.
нас
So what
есть
metrics can we use to prioritize the
сценарий
tasks?
для проблемы,
Ideally, we have a scenario for a
идеальный
problem,
целевой показатель, который мы должны
and
достичь.
there is an ideal
И мы там стремимся
performance
не падать
indicator,
ниже определенного уровня нашего SLA.
and we're trying not to go lower than the level that is set for us, and we're trying to achieve
Плохо в
certain
том, что все
KPIs.
промежуточные значения,
What's
в
bad,
которых мы обычно
that
в итоге
all the
оказываемся, и в процессе, самое главное, находимся,
interim
оказываются в золотом. Мы не знаем, что делать в
situations,
таких условиях.
we don't know what to do.
А,
We don't know what to do
безопасно
under such
в данном
conditions.
случае начать работать с
So
вычислением
that would
по этим
it would be
метрикам
safe
и,
to use these metrics
промежуточные
to
значения
calculate
важно
what's
где мы
happening,
важно не то,
to
где мы сейчас в
see
моменте
what's happening
находимся, а
in
куда мы
between
двигаемся
the
последние там несколько
say
отчетных периодов, дней, часов. И самое главное,
our
куда она
hallmarks, and then
экстраполируем,
see
куда мы
where the trend goes, where we're going to go, and where we're going to go if nothing changes or something changes. And then based on the hypothesis that we have and that something may change, you need to be able to identify patterns of issues, and you need to be able to detect anomalies. Something that is pretty simple to realize. Anomalies, we know what it is. Usually traffic, say you had 1 gigabyte through the channel, and then all of a sudden your traffic grew 2 times. So you need to look at what's going on, and the system is supposed to kind of highlight the hypothesis, see what's happening. You need to look at it, see if something is done differently, and maybe it's some sort of vector that you didn't take into account. And again, it's a potential risk, a potential threat to your plans. So the system is supposed to do such detections automatically, and you don't really have to have an AI. It can be just algorithmic or like on the controller level thing. And it's important to separate metrics. There are information security metrics, how many incidents happened, and others. But you shouldn't forget about the key point of your existence as a security department. Since you want to make money, you want to sell products, you need to protect the system that brings enough money to the client. For business, what's important, it's not only the number of incidents that's important, but the whole integrity of the processes. And here, IT metrics are also very important. And it's important that these metrics are interconnected so that we always can see what's happening with IT systems, so that we could understand logic of our IT officers. So it's very important to have this feedback. And IT should understand what's happening with the resources. If we undertake certain steps or measures, say a channel will be blocked, then you have to transfer all traffic to a different channel will be overloaded, and many more. So, and then business metrics that should be on top of everything and should be like an arbiter, overseeing the whole thing, what things should be done first and second. Now, speed. A system says that it should be giving the data in real time. And it's achievable, but the question is different.
И выводим в реальном времени все подряд, у нас возникают биения вот эти. Когда мы только хотели принять какое-то решение, а проблема, по которой мы это решение
in real time, oftentimes we have certain like things going on, and the
медленные проблемы должны стоять на первом месте. Тем меньше ему
the higher the manager, the bigger the problem they should tackle, and it's so-called like slow problems. But there are the current issues you need to deal with, and sometimes managers will have to micromanage in times of disaster, so to speak. So you have to be ready for disaster and to be ready to respond to this. And unachievable, something that is crossed out. In small infrastructures, when you come to a serious client, there is a number of like 10 cuffs, and just how the signal will go through from the point where incident happened, event happened, and then to the point where it goes. So, and you also have to process all the area of data. So, different speeds of processing this data. Metrics should be as close to real time as possible. The higher we escalate it, the more data should be used. And the higher the management, metrics should be stable in time. And if for making a decision we need 1 day, so metrics is not supposed to be changing every 5 hours. Only that problem is escalated, that can remain stable for like a week. So it takes us a week to really get into the problem. And about getting down to the problem and really understanding it. So there is another focus, time management.
Недостаточно просто управлять
Focus management, it's not enough just to manage your time. It's also important
и выстраивать
to
там,
properly manage the tasks that you spend your time on
список задач важных. Для
and
руководителя
prioritize your
тоже важно
tasks.
понимать, на что
For
отвечать
managers, it's important
драгоценные ресурсы.
where they need to put their efforts.
Для того, чтобы сфокусироваться, иметь максимум информации в сжатом
In order
виде,
to focus, you need to have maximum information in concise
проблема, когда нужно
form.
выбрать что-то
And that's a classical issue
не более двух, да,
when you need to choose one out of three.
Значит, у нас либо, ну, понятная история.
So that's what you need to work with. So I don't really need to spell it out for you, but
слайде, ну, там, грубо говоря, в одном экране помещается, но при этом
on one slide,
максимум информации и ничего не
one
понятно.
screen, there's like maximum information. They put there everything. So you see lots of metrics there, and you really don't understand how to make anything out of it.
Да, либо у нас будет все понятно, будет максимум.
It's better when you have a clear picture.
Но оптимальный вариант — это когда у нас есть экспресс-витринка.
Optimal situation when you have like express picture on the topic where it's not all the information, but it's concise information that it's clear to see, so it kind of gives you the direction where to go. So also you have to have a multi-level windows, so much easier to deal with the issue when you don't have to flip from one tab to another in your browser, some weird links that you need to deal with. Keep it simple. You should stay in the same interface to be able to browse in this interface as long as you need, until there is a need to switch to a different tool, the tool that performs different functions. So then there is a switch from one tool to another. And without having to switch back and forth, you will be able to keep your focus on the issue. And also it's important to be in the context. I told you that if the display is not clear and the person, but if the person is working in the context for a while, they will understand the display they're given with all the little bits on it. In the company, say we have 100 people, they all use this tool, and it's an ideal situation. Ideal atmosphere. The system for decision-making support, they don't use them usually. They go there like once, twice a year when things go bad. We're not talking about the situation center. Say the manager never went to a situation center. They were dealing with some other tasks and they kind of lost focus. And when they go to deal with the tool is useless for them because we don't know what to do. Their subordinates probably didn't go to the center either. Then this chain kind of growing, and so they need finally get to some person who can know how to deal with this. Some companies regularly, not to lose their focus, every day they need to make a report, generate a report from this situation center. So this system of decision-making should be generating those reports automatically, and you don't really need to, like a lot of time to spend on templates and stuff. So how to do that? You just need to let the user deal with the system, work on the system, to be able to set up the display that they want, as they do it in gentrification, when they when they build a park, they let first people walk through the park, and then they see where the people are walking, where they make the paths, and then they put pavement on it. Here it works just the same. Remember, in the previous slide we spoke that there is focus. And we need to form one list of tasks. And it's great to have a system when people can see all the tasks from all the sources. So when the user gets there, like once a day, for example. That's just one way how to provide that. And the second one,
упомянул, пока рассказывал про первый, что должен быть обязательно привычные инструменты, должны быть интегрированы в этот пользовательский.
instruments should be
Неважно, где он сделает изменения, в нашем инструменте или в том.
familiar,
Здесь у него должна быть
no matter where they make changes.
Тогда он начнет
So information should be consistent. They'll trust the information, they will get used to getting here,
в течение какого-то месяца, пока он активно работает.
and they will be able to support it not just once a month, but for all the time that they're dealing with. And thus you will be more ready to make decisions in time of disaster. Now, the point of gathering. So how to organize this point? Ideally, there is like a universal display. Everybody goes there and looks what's on it. And at some point, some group of users, they need some clarifications, some data from one display or some other displays, and you need to have like many displays. And in the system, there should be mechanisms of exchanging and sharing your display so that you can see one big display with all the details, but at some point you will be able to switch to your own piece of it. You should be able to share things and to be able to give something for this big display, for the shared display.
И когда обсудили, посмотрели на проблемы, посудачили, этого недостаточно.
And when you looked at the issues, you discuss things with your colleagues. So then there should be an option for the manager to manage the situation with your subordinates. It's like you looked at the display and you see the issue from. You may get a lot of information, you can be overwhelmed with information on one display. You have to be able to send a message that is linked to the task that people are dealing with. So what's bad that tools for different groups within one company can be different, and people are used to working with these different tools. And for the point of action, the point of gathering, so there are, say, like routers, they can direct the user to the familiar tool. Let's not go to Jira. You go to a very particular interface to create tasks, and when you follow what's happening on the display and you see what's LA going, so you know where to go, and you wouldn't be popping up in some kind of unknown place of this tool. So these are all slides I had. We had some time left.
Давайте начнем опрос. Кому показалось то, что он сегодня услышал, полезным?
So what do you think was useful from what I told you?
Не так много людей.
Not so many people.
Может кто-нибудь сказать из тех, кто не
Could you tell me, please, those who didn't raise your hand, so what you expected from the presentation, and why do you think that things I told you turned out to be useless? Is anybody ready to say that? Okay, I'll try to do that. You know,
сказал, что было полезно. Вот.
Actually, I was the one who said it was useful, but what could be improved? Your correct words, a bit more examples. So I knew that, so I was doing the presentation.
Рекламном стиле выступаем.
So we're not here to kind of advertise anything.
Естественно, мы делаем инструмент, который прям вот.
I told you that I'm product manager of Innostage, and we're dealing with this. So we'll thank you for the question, and so please come to our booth. So you'll be walking right past by us. We can show you the tool, how it looks. So what plans we have? The tool is called In-One.
Царствовать и всем владеть, как говорится.
It's like one single tool to kind of rule everything. So it
И да, действительно, можно
combines all metrics.
И после каждого слайда будет идти пример витрины из нашего продукта.
So, and after each slide, there will be an example of display of our product. Yes, that's a great format. Thank you again.
Кто-нибудь, может быть, еще что-то скажет?
Maybe someone else would like to say something, the topics that I didn't touch on,
с тем, что я говорил. Так.
and maybe you disagree with what I was saying.
Ну, вот у меня, да, расширение небольшое вопроса.
So I would like to expand on the question a little bit.
Начальством на тему
Communicating with your management on
обычно шлет всех, как обычно.
information security, and usually they kind of don't care. And I understand that you need to talk to them from the point of view of business logics, and you need to bring some numbers, like financial side of it.
Будет стоить.
So you need to show them that this type of vulnerability will cost them that much. At this point, I don't have a quick technique
стоимость реализации этой уязвимости.
to approximately
Может быть, есть какой-то такой, вы можете
evaluate the real cost of a certain vulnerability. So maybe there is such a technique to do that. Yes, we have methodology.
Сделать, когда вот я по прошлому выступлению вчерашнему
In our
говорил, что мы
company,
делали методологию
yesterday I was talking about this. So we
сборки
were
портфеля. Начали
making
искать,
methodology of how to bring together our portfolio. And it turned out that we have methodology. It turned out that we had like seven methodologies. Different people use different methodologies. There is this methodology called risk analysis. So, and it's spelled out for financial risks, and according to category, there's financial risks, there are
ну, там экономические. Есть риски социальные,
social risks,
жизни, есть еще какие-то
life threat risks,
например, по тайне, по утечкам данных. Вот, и все эти аспекты
and data leak risks. So
определенные
all
веса,
this is classified.
выдаются.
So you weigh them.
Себя можете, соответственно, менять. Соответственно, вот это инструмент
Each of this, so this is the tool of making decisions. So you bring the methodology. There is a number of displays for that. So we have a proto CNDB model, very simple with basic functionality, and you can connect it to the archives of your system to this. Then you upload incidents there. You can build what systems. You can see what systems are mostly attacked. So you can see how much will cost a leak, how much the leak will cost you.
Потому что риски, ну, не все у вас реализовывались, слава богу. Вот, можно воспользоваться данными по индустрии.
You can also
исследования позитивов, исследования каких-то интеграторов.
Data from
по заказчикам можем...
different integrators like Positive Technologies and many others.
Вот, и эту экспертную оценку также подгружать в эту витрину.
So then you get this expertise
Такое принятие решений нужно защищать.
to this tool as a parameter. So, and you'll see what systems should be protected first place. So some of the measures you realized. So the probability of risk is this. What can be improved
прежде всего работает с тем, что у вас. Может быть, вам не нужно
as cheap as possible. Maybe you don't have to buy product. Maybe you just need to set up the product you have.
Люди специально обученные консультанты.
We also have consultants for that.
Инструмент, где вы можете работать.
And then you have a tool
а в определенный момент, когда у вас появляется...
that you can work with consultants, you can follow consultants, and you can clarify certain things on your own. And this display should be properly oriented on risk. It's kind of risk management with information security, kind of risk intelligence.
Растущий класс.
Business intelligence versus risk intelligence. In the West, it's a growing class of products.
Главное вот подойти с правильной методологией. У нас такая...
So very important to approach that with the proper methodology, and we have it. So if you want, so come to our booth, and you can talk to the originator of this methodology.
Что-нибудь еще из интересного?
Anything else from interesting things? We have 2 minutes left.
Стенд у нас находится, если подняться на лифте, выйти...
Our booth, if you take an elevator from here and you go to the exit, and on the way you'll see Innostage
будет стенд находиться. Там такой есть тач-панель большая
Booth,
с продуктами.
touch panel
Как раз возле нее стоит
with our product.
можно пообщаться.
and you can talk to our consultants there.
По методологии зовут Ильдар, но он находится, по-моему, сейчас в шатре.
The man who is responsible for methodology, he is in the tent.
Вот. Там еще машинки две такие стоят, наверное, знаете-то. Вот, это оно.
So please, you can always go there, and you're always welcome to go there.
Спасибо, вишенка на торте. И все-таки
Thank you. And cherry on the cake.
написано, как продать безопасность.
In the description, you said how to sell
Да, вот
security to
хорошая
top
подводка
management.
была под эту тему тоже.
Yes, it was actually a great
нужно
lead up
показать
from the
деньги,
colleague to this question. So
нужно
you need to
показать,
show
что
them the
деньги,
money.
которые вы тратите на eBay, ну, это с банальности начну.
You need to show them that the money that you spend on information security
потенциально
will be
можете
less
потерять.
than the money that you potentially lose.
Почему? Потому что
And
мы часто будем говорить про риски.
to the best, if it's much
Термин, поэтому лучше
more
сказать,
money
риски
you will
вообще
lose.
вот по методикам, по индустрии рассчитали вот так, и мы еще понизили их дополнительно.
So according to methodologies, you calculate it like this, and you can tell the top management so that you can look optimistically, and that's the
Приводить
cost.
примеры сходные. Опять-таки,
You can give them similar examples.
он вам подсвечивает слабые места. И подсвечивает
So when you have a tool,
которые были.
it shows you
Сколько вы
weak
можете потерять денег, оно же
spots and
основано на
vulnerabilities.
случае.
So the expert evaluation is
Не
based
говорить
on
про .NET,
certain
который был давно, но о нем все говорят,
cases.
да, там в СТПшной, например, тематике. Но какие-то релевантные, более свежие случаи все время
You need to talk
всплывают.
about some
Можно ориентироваться и
fresh
смотреть
cases.
исследования, как
They
именно
always pop up,
действовал злоумышленник.
and you can look at research and how the
И говорить, если у
attacker
нас не было таких инструментов, у нас ситуация
behaved. And you can tell that so that company didn't have the tools that we don't have, and that we had similar situation. So we set up our tools, but we're not sure about the setup.
Профессионала уволить. Вот. Но есть некоторые объективные вещи. Человек...
There are some objective things, and a person can't know each tool fully. You always need a consultant to help you with the tool. And consultants, they start with the fact that they help people to set up the tool properly. So we advertise the product. Not really. So we work on the pilot, and it's paid pilot. So that somebody is responsible for the pilot. So, and we would resolve a small issue, but the issue that the management is interested in, together with the information security officer, we do that. We look at the profile of the company. We have cases from practice and how we usually worked in such companies. We can tell you, depending on the area where you work, and what's the best way to approach your manager. So start with small costs, show them the whole list of problems, and based on the studies that's done, and evaluate the situation in money.
Все? Еще?
So that's it. Anything else?
К предыдущему вопросу.
Back to the previous question.
35 лет.
The company is 35 years old.
Лет ничего не случилось.
For 35 years, nothing happened. Why tomorrow something might happen?
Вы за эти 35 лет освоили использование компьютеров?
Did you manage to use computers for 35 years? So this is the change that changes risks. Then on computer,
35 лет, наверное, может быть производственная
this
какая-то.
company is 35, so it's probably a manufacturing company or a research company. So now you started working with big volumes of data, so you receive more specifications from more equipment, so changes are happening. So in static environments, so nothing was happening, but now the environment is not static anymore. 2-3 years, and what's going to happen pretty clear. So if your company grew and became more interesting, so this is where you can draw attention of your management. For 30 years, nobody needed them. So for 5 years, we managed to kind of sail through, but now luck may turn sour to us, and we may get in the situation, and we may lose something. So when you, as a security officer, you need to show them, so what's going to happen and what's going to be the cost of the leak. Of course, what happens in business can go through different associations. Somebody was invested in this business. So, and the people are the most important resource. Let's try another one.
Вот все-таки про какие-то метрики, кроме денег.
Well, how about some metrics in addition to money? If we're speaking about the public company and the manager of this company may be openly saying, okay, you know, the money is not quite my issue. What are some other metrics you can measure success by? When I was answering your question, I would mention, yes, we have some social aspect. There is always like a looming kind of imprisonment threat, because like a Federal Security Service can say, okay, you have violated the state secrets and that's why you got to be punishable. You know, sometimes it's even when some big companies are doing something very important for Russia, they fail doing whatever they're doing for the country because simply they can't because they've been too sloppy and stuff, and then they will be punished, even not officially but sort of like unofficially. So going back to the issue of possible consequences, you know that sometimes it happens, and we've seen and we can see more and more cases like that, that if somebody gave a bribe of, let's say, $10,000, and then you're being punished like for state treason, national treason, and that's kind of scary because like people sometimes they would even catch them on bribe and give them a different sentence. Some of the data are very sensitive, and these are not the games anymore, so you can be severely punished. Then also some social consequences. The president is saying that, okay, the population should not fall victim to whims of regional government or federal government, and supposedly federals are going to be, protecting you. But again, you may suffer some indirect consequences, and that means that the companies will have less resources because they cannot take in all the risks and also ecological, environmental damage. What are you doing? Are you from public area or from private sector? Our company is an investment company, and we developed just one particular region of Russia. And what you're saying is that people say about some kind of responsibility, and everybody is asking, okay, responsibility, but what kind of responsibility? It looks like basically... Well, you know what? This famous phrase, too big to fail. If companies are crumbling like Yandex, who is going to stop Yandex from working? They will wait. Until they will be no longer dependent on Yandex, and then they may punish the company. The second point, you gotta see what kind of data has been leaked and what were the consequences of the situation. So we gotta know, speaking of investments into the region, can this lead into some real consequences? And also, by the way, I want to say, how do you evaluate money? It's about consequences, some physical consequences expressed in some adverse events. So we have to understand what would be a negative event for someone, that he or she may lose power or that he or she may lose money. What's like a pain point? Is it money or power? I've been told that we don't have any more time. Thank you so much. You've been a great audience today.